Hey guy, close your eyes and step softly into the midnight jungle of the ancient Maya world. The air is thick with the scent of damp earth, wild cacao, and burning copal incense. Far in the distance, a jaguar calls out from the treetops, its growl rolling like thunder through the forest. Tonight, let the world of the Maya carry you gently into rest. You are not a guest here, you are a warrior, a young apprentice, chosen to walk your first sacred night patrol. The moonlight flickers through leaves like silver fire, and every shadow holds a lesson. There's no need to stay awake. You've already fasted, prepared your body in smoke, and painted your arms with sacred ash. You are ready to walk among spirits, gods, and beasts of the jungle. You'll journey alongside the elder warriors, stepping beyond the wooden palisade of Calakmul's walls. You'll feel the ache of hunger, the sting of thorns, and the hush of distant drums, echoing across the trees. And you'll wonder, in the stillness before dawn, would you survive a Maya warrior's night patrol? Now, breathe softly and let the jungle guide you. And if this ancient world brings you peace tonight, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the Sleepy Historian for more gentle journeys into the past. The sun sets behind the temple. The sun is sinking fast behind the high temples of Calakmul, casting long golden beams across the limestone city. You stand near the edge of the military compound, watching shadows stretch like dark fingers over the thatched rooftops. A heavy warmth still lingers in the air, smelling of sun-baked stone, maize flour, and distant wood smoke. Your hands tremble slightly, not from fear, but from anticipation. Tonight is your first patrol. You are not alone. 3 other young men stand with you, bare-chested and quiet, each with the same swirling lines of ash and ochre painted across their arms and cheeks. The paint itches slightly where it dried too fast, but you don't move. You've been told the gods are watching even now. A low drum beat rises from the courtyard. Boom, boom, boom. Each strike echoes through the stone corridors, like a second heartbeat. At the center of the compound, a tall warrior approaches, a man with deep lines around his mouth and white shell beads woven into his braided hair. He does not smile. He is the Naka, the leader of your patrol. You drop to your knees as he passes. So do the others. The patrol leader raises a hand painted in red pigment, and all the noise fades away. You are called forward by name, not loudly, but enough to carry through the courtyard. You step into the center circle, with stone under bare feet, dust in the air, a hush like the breath before a storm. You were born under the sign of the 3 flint stars. The Nakam says softly, a night sign. He smears a circle of black ash on your chest with his thumb, marking your heart. For the gods of darkness see you clearer than the gods of day. He steps back. Then another elder approaches, this one bent with age, his walking stick carved with the jaguar glyph. The air fills with a pungent sweetness as he waves a smoldering bundle of copal resin near your face. The smoke curls around your eyes and nose, and you breathe it in, sharp, warm, like a forest caught on fire in the rain. You try not to cough. The elder nods once, a ritual complete. Your spirit is now visible to the underworld and protected. Behind you, a large brazier crackles to life, and the others are called forward one by one. The same markings, the same chant, the same silence. You watch the smoke rise toward the pinking sky. In somewhere beyond the temple walls, the jungle is waking, or perhaps it never slept at all. When all four of you have been marked and purified, the Nakam leads the group toward a stone platform at the edge of the compound. You climb the steps barefoot, feeling the warm grit beneath your soles. From here, you can see the forest canopy stretch to the horizon, green and blue and endless. Bats flicker across the sky. A monkey howls from the far treetops. The sound sends a chill through your back. You will not speak, the Nakam says calmly. Not until we return. Your silence is your offering. Then he hands you a torch wrapped in resin cloth, its end already soaked and heavy. Not yet lit. You hold it tightly. This is your tether to the human world, to light and warmth in all things familiar. Below you, night creeps steadily across the stones. Shadows merge and lengthen, and as the first stars begin to glimmer above the temple's crown, your patrol descends the platform steps in single file, into the dark, into the wild, into the night. Chapter 2, Fasting in Smoke Bath. You're hours before the patrol begins. You are taken to the Temazcal, the sacred steam house. The sacred steam house. Its low domed shape rests beside a garden of herbs and hot stones. A narrow opening waits at its base, just large enough to crawl through on hands and knees. Your stomach is already hollow. You have not eaten since the first sunbeam touched the temple roof. Only water and bitter cacao this day, as tradition demands. To walk into the night with a full belly is to tempt the spirits to slow you down. You kneel at the entrance and whisper a silent request to the gods of wind, of stone, of sweat. Then you crawl forward into the dark womb of the steam house. Inside, it is hot and dim. The air clings to your skin like wet cloth. In the center sits a shallow pit filled with red-hot stones, glowing like eyes beneath the earth. A young priest sprinkles water onto them, and a hiss rises up like the breath of a serpent. Steam envelopes you, thick, blinding. You can no longer see the others, only hear their breathing slow and steady and close. Your body begins to sweat immediately. Your chest feels tight, but you do not move. You let the heat work through you, melting the fear, burning the thoughts away. This is the stripping away of self. A warrior is born in fire and breath. Through the haze, you see the elder appear again. He crouches beside you, holding a small bowl of soft yellow wax. It's the sacred wax of the stingless bee, Junan Kab, collected from hollow logs and guarded by priestesses. He dips 2 fingers into the warm wax and smears it slowly across your collarbone. It hardens instantly in the heat, a seal of silence. You must not speak until it wears away on its own. The old man hums a quiet melody, almost like a lullaby, not in words you understand, older words, the kind the gods might still remember. More water, more steam. Time bends and softens. Your muscles melt. Your hands go numb. Thoughts drift away like smoke rising through the thatched roof vent. And then, cool air. The flap opens. The elder gestures you out, blinking into twilight. You crawl out the way you came, arms shaking, legs weak but clean. Inside, the stones continue to hiss. Outside, a woman approaches with a small clay bowl. She is a healer. Her tunic smells of bark and river mint. She wipes your face gently with a damp cloth soaked in crushed herbs and limb water. You feel every drop slide down your skin. She does not speak. No one does now. The silence has begun. You are led to a low bench beside the garden. There, you sit for some time, wrapped in a thin cotton cloak, letting the heat of your body steam away in the cool dusk air. The stars begin to appear, bright points above the swaying ceiba trees. You do not know what hour it is. Time feels stretched. A drum beats softly now, steady and far away, like it's calling you back towards something older than fear. Your hunger returns, dull and gentle. You welcome it. It sharpens the senses. It keeps you awake without waking. Tonight you will walk on legs made of silence, and light the way with a torch borrowed from the sun, and light the way with a torch borrowed from the sun. Obsidian and shadow. Your hand closes around the shaft of the blade. Cool wood wrapped in woven fibers. It's heavier than you imagined, solid, alive in its own way. This is your mekohueto, a hardwood paddle edged with razor-sharp obsidian flakes, each one placed with careful ritual by the weapon keeper. The black glass glints faintly in the firelight. It looks like frozen night, and it will cut just as deep. You are told not to swing it. Not here. Not unless you intend to draw blood. This is no practice blade. It has memory now, shaped in silence, blessed in smoke. You lift it gently across your back, the weight pressing between your shoulder blades like a second spine. The moment feels heavier than the blade itself. Nearby, the patrol leader unwraps a cloth bundle and reveals 4 obsidian knives, short curved, sacred. One by one, he presses a handle into each warrior's hand. When it is your turn, his fingers linger for a moment on your wrist. His eyes meet yours, quiet, unreadable. Then he moves on. You tuck the blade into the woven sash at your waist. It rests cold against your side. You feel its presence more than its shape. Everything now is quiet. Even the jungle seems to pause. Seems to pause. A wind moves softly through the palm fronds overhead, brushing your skin with fingers cooler than before. The night is thickening. A basket is passed around next. Inside, slivers of dried cacao bark, a few bitter leaves to chew, and a small stone painted with the glyph for wind. You take one of each. You chew slowly. The flavor is earthy, sour, and grounding. This is to keep the mind clear, to keep the spirit from wandering too far into the dark. Some say the jungle is full of things that do not belong to the world of the living, and that during the night patrol, those things listen closest. You touch the edge of your obsidian blade, letting your fingertip feel its impossible sharpness. A warning, a comfort, a reminder that your body is here, solid, warm, mortal. The Nakam lights the torches himself. One at a time, he dips the ends into a shallow bowl of pine resin and dried copal, then lifts the torch to a small flame until it roars to life. Orange light dances over his face, over your weapons, over the stone around your feet. The torches smell sweet and thick. They crackle as the resin melts and spits. And you hold yours upright, careful not to let the flame lean too far. Now the shadows begin to shift. Now the night begins to answer. A large clay jar is opened, and out is poured a white powder onto a square of bark cloth, ground chalk and crushed bones. The Nakam dips his hand into the dust and presses it against your forehead. A sunburst mark, the symbol of vigilance. You are meant to keep your eyes open even when your mind grows tired, especially then, to see what others may miss. Above you, Stars begin to emerge like distant beads of jade sewn into a black sky. You wonder how many of your ancestors patrolled these paths before you, how many never returned, how many still walk in shadow, watching. You breathe deeply and close your eyes for one quiet moment. The smell of smoke, the weight of obsidian, the pulse of your own blood in your ears. You are no longer just a boy. You are a blade. You are a shadow. You are a vessel of silence. Into the forest's edge, the patrol moves in silence, single file. Four young warriors, one leader, five flames dancing in the night. The torches cast flickering circles on the jungle floor, where roots twist like sleeping serpents beneath your bare feet. Each step forward is deliberate. You've been trained to walk with your weight low, knees soft, soles flat against the soil. No snapping branches, no careless footfalls. The forest does not forgive noise. The path curves around a cluster of tall ceiba trees, their trunks pale in the firelight, branches high above like the ribs of the sky itself. These are the world trees, the bridge between heaven, earth, and the underworld. You bow your head slightly as you pass beneath them. Even the Nacum does, not out of superstition, but out of memory. The stories are older than breath, older than stone. The air grows thicker as you descend a shallow slope, following a trail barely visible beneath the ferns. The soil is damp here, dark and rich with decay. It smells of wet leaves, sap, and distant flowers opening under moonlight. Insects sing around you, a constant shimmer of sound, high pitched whines, chirps, a thousand tiny lives vibrating in the night. Somewhere close, a frog croaks from a shallow pool hidden under vines. The rhythm so steady, it begins to match your footsteps. The torch in your hand gutters slightly as a breeze pushes through the trees. You tilt it forward, shielding the flame with your other hand. The light grows low for a moment, and the darkness presses in. You swallow hard, not from fear, but from the strange thrill of being watched. The jungle is never empty. Even when you see nothing, something always sees you. Eyes behind the leaves, eyes above in the canopy. The Nacum raises his hand, and the patrol halts instantly. No sound, no whisper. He kneels near a patch of moss covered stone and touches it lightly. You lean forward, just enough to see the marks carved into the surface, three horizontal lines with a dot beneath them. It's a glyph. It's a glyph, faded, ancient, possibly a boundary marker, or a warning. The elder takes a pinch of dried chili powder from a pouch at his waist and scatters it over the stone, a quiet offering. Then he rises and moves on. You follow, heart steady now. You cross a fallen log. Moss cushions your steps. Then a narrow stream glistens ahead, its waters reflecting starlight between the leaves. You step through it silently, the cool water rising just above your ankles. No one speaks. No one needs to. Beyond the stream, the land rises again, this time toward denser undergrowth, thicker trees, narrower gaps. You crouch lower. The torchlight begins to catch on vines and broad leaves, throwing long, shifting shadows that seem to reach out toward your legs. A rustle. You freeze. The Nacum turns slowly, holding his torch higher. Nothing moves, only the hush returns. But your skin prickles all the same. As you move deeper, the jungle seems to breathe around you, not loudly, not with sound, and but with presence. a rhythm older than thought, pulsing through the trees. Every step becomes a prayer now, not spoken, but felt through your bones. You begin to understand what the elders meant when they said the jungle teaches you by touch, not by voice. You are nearing the edge of the known paths. Soon, the patrol will pass into a place without markers, where maps are useless and memory is your only guide. You tighten your grip on your torch, obsidian at your hip, the night ahead. The forest listens, and the first omen, the jungle holds its breath. Not a breeze stirs the leaves, not a bird chirps. Even the frogs have grown quiet. Then, the sharp cry of an owl, high above, distant and unmistakable, a low rattling screech that echoes between the trees like a warning wrapped in wind. You freeze. So does the patrol. The Nakam lifts his torch higher, its flame dancing erratically. He does not speak, but you see his jaw tense beneath the paint. An owl. In the world of the Maya, that is no ordinary sound. And owls are messengers from the Shibal, the underworld. They do not hoot, they whisper. They do not guide, they warn. And when one calls during patrol, some say it means death has noticed your name. The torchlight flickers as the wind shifts again. Then silence returns, heavier than before. The Nakam kneels slowly beside a patch of soft earth. He draws a glyph with his finger, 3 lines in a spiral. Pure. It is the mark of Kawail, the god of lightning and fate. Then he reaches into a small pouch and pulls out a pinch of fine red powder. Chilly ash. It stings the eyes and nose even before it's cast. He tosses it into the air above the glyph. The cloud hangs a moment, then drifts skyward on a breath of wind. A ritual act, a simple protection. Not against owls, but against the thing they warn of. He rises and continues forward, not changing direction, not speaking a word. You follow, the torch in your hand suddenly heavier than before. The jungle seems more awake now, not louder, just aware. You scan every shape between the trees, twisted vines, strange shadows, the curve of roots like limbs reaching from the dirt. Everything seems to shimmer at the edge of meaning. Another sound, a faint rustle in the leaves to your right. You stop and look, but there's nothing. No movement. Just trees. Just shadows. You glance up. The stars blink through narrow openings in the canopy. The owl is silent now, but the sense of being watched hasn't left. You remember what your mother once whispered when you were small, that spirits sometimes follow the sound of breath in the dark. So you hold yours for a moment, lips closed, chest still. Eventually, the patrol reaches a narrow clearing. Here, the trees open slightly, revealing an old marker stone covered in moss, a boundary, the edge of the city's remembered space. Beyond this, no one builds, no one plants, no one stays past sunrise. Too many whispers in the trees. The Nakam kneels again and places a tiny carved figure on the stone, a simple face, rounded eyes, an open mouth. It is a guardian idol, shaped from clay and hardened in a hearth 3 days before. He pours a few drops of honey over it, from a gourd tied to his belt. Then a touch of cornmeal, food for the spirit that guards the edge, or perhaps a bribe, so it does not call your name to what walks past the trees. You kneel too, as you've been taught, not out of fear, but out of respect. You press your palm to the cold stone. Close your eyes for just a moment. You do not pray for protection. You offer to listen, if the spirits will allow you to pass. When you rise, your knees ache slightly. The patrol continues, moving deeper now, beyond familiar routes and remembered bends in the trail. Somewhere behind you, the owl calls again, only once. This time, no one reacts. You walk onward, past the omen, past the edge of old memory. The jungle closes around you like a mouth swallowing breath. The bones of the earth. The torchlight bends ahead, throwing golden ripples over ancient stone. At first, you think it's just another hill, a tangle of vines and moss. But then the shadows catch on corners too straight to be natural, and you realize you're standing before ruins, old ones. Your patrol slows to a halt. Even the Nakam pauses for a moment. For a moment, the trees here grow in strange shapes, wrapping their roots around half-buried steps, splitting old walls like slow, patient knives. The forest has reclaimed whatever this once was. You step closer. A broken stairway leads up toward nothing, its top swallowed by a massive ceiba tree, its roots spilling like stone-crushing snakes down the front. The glyphs carved into the side are barely visible. Some are scratched out, others worn smooth by rain and time. You wonder who lived here, who built it, why they left. The Nakum raises his hand and gestures you to form a circle. You kneel at the base of the ruin. Your torch is pressed into the ground beside you, flame low but steady. He removes a pouch from his sash and pulls out 4 small objects. They glint, obsidian chips, carved into symbols you don't recognize. Each one is placed in front of a warrior. When he reaches you, he places the shard with a spiral mark, the glyph for death by drowning. You do not ask why. No one speaks. And the ritual is simple. Hold the shard in your palm, close your eyes, breathe once for the living world, once for the ancestors, and once for what lies beneath the soil. You feel the obsidian grow warm in your hand, or maybe it's your own skin heating it. Either way, it feels aware, as if it remembers the hands that shaped it centuries ago. A single leaf drifts down from the trees above. It lands on the stone in front of you, light green, unburnt. A good sign. The forest is listening, but not offended. Still, there's something about these ruins that makes the hairs on your arms rise. Not from fear, exactly. Something older than that, a kind of recognition. You've heard stories, whispered between boys in the training house, of lost cities swallowed by time, abandoned to the jaguars and ghosts. Some say certain temples were built too close to the bones of the earth, places where the gods were not meant to be disturbed. They say entire lineages vanished overnight, whole villages choked with vines. And that sometimes, if you step too close to a cracked altar, you can still hear the breath of those who stayed too long. You press your palm to the stone beside you. It is cold, dry, but under the surface, you feel a deep stillness, like something holding its breath far below. The Nakam rises first. He steps up onto the lowest stair and places his shard at the base of the trunk. The others follow. You place yours last, gently, as if leaving a gift at a sleeping god's door. Then you walk on, slowly at first, torchlight bouncing off broken stone and roots as thick as tree limbs. You do not look back, not because you don't want to, but because something inside you says not to. As the forest closes around you once more, the sound of insects returns. The frogs begin again. The silence lifts, like a curtain drawn back from a hidden room. You realize your breath has been shallow for some time. You inhale deeply now. The air is humid, sweet with crushed leaves, and laced with the scent of wet stone. The ruins disappear behind a wall of green, swallowed again by the jungle, and you keep walking, footsteps soft on the earth's ancient skin. The stingless bees, the jungle path begins to rise again, cutting through a denser patch of undergrowth. Low vines catch on your ankles. The torch's flame flickers every few steps. Above, the canopy is so thick, the stars have all but vanished. And then, a soft hum, faint at first, then rising as you walk. Not threatening, not like hornets or wasps. This is different, gentler. There, you slow your steps, so do the others. The Nacum lifts a hand in signal, and the patrol stops beside a mossy tree with thick roots that split and fold like sculpted stone. There, tucked in the hollow center of the trunk, is a small hive, a narrow slit in the bark lined with dark resin and pale wax. The source of the hume. These are Sunenko, the sacred stingless bees of the Maya, smaller than your thumbnail, nearly silent when still. But here, on a warm night, their hive buzzes softly with life. You crouch beside the tree, careful not to disturb the entrance. One of the older warriors removes a thin reed from his pouch and gently slides it into the hive's entrance. He withdraws it slowly, covered in a film of golden wax. He dips his finger in it, touches it to his brow, then passes it to you. You do the same. The wax is warm, scented faintly with honey and bark. It melts against your skin, leaving a trail of scent and memory, a blessing, a shield for the spirit. These bees are not kept in boxes like others. Their hives are carved into hollow logs, left in forest groves or garden edges. They are watched by priestesses, honored as bringers of balance. To harvest their honey is to speak with the gods of breath and vision. To disturb them with anger is to invite sickness. But tonight, the hive is calm. You place a small pinch of ground corn beside the hive entrance, a silent offering. The Nacum adds a shard of jade dust from his pouch. Tiny things, given in reverence, not for favor, but for harmony. The bees continue to hum, unbothered by your presence. Their wings catch the firelight like threads of glass. You watch them for a moment longer, breathing slowly, letting the rhythm of their movement quiet the thoughts in your head. Around you, the forest stirs softly. A small bird calls from deep within the brush. The wind moves through leaves, overhead. And for the first time tonight, you feel a kind of peace settle in your chest. The patrol begins moving again. You rise, brush the dirt from your knees, and follow, but you keep the scent of wax on your skin and the hum of bees in your ears. Something about this moment stays with you, as if part of the forest has remembered your name and chosen not to whisper it too loudly to the dark. The enemy that watches, the path begins to narrow. Roots thicken. The trees seem to lean in slightly, as if listening. And the torch in your hand throws longer shadows now, bending strangely across leaves that glisten with dew. You hear it before you see it, a soft snap, just off to the left, not loud, but wrong. The Nacum stops. Everyone halts behind him. No words, only the sound of your own breathing, slow and shallow. He raises two fingers, a signal to crouch. You obey, knees bending, one hand resting near the hilt of your obsidian blade. The forest holds still. Then, another sound, the low crunch of moss beneath a foot that doesn't belong to your patrol. Careful, deliberate. It stops again. Silence returns. But now the hairs on your arms are rising, not from the wind, from knowing. The Macam steps forward, torch raised slightly, scanning the dense growth. He does not call out. That would be foolish. If something is watching, it already knows you're here. You slowly scan the trees to your right. Just ahead, carved into the bark of a thick trunk, you see it, a symbol etched with a sharp edge, fresh. Not by animal, not by nature, a mark. 3 lines in a circle, the glyph of a rival clan from the west. You feel your stomach tighten. They're not supposed to be this far east. Not during sacred nights. Not without reason. You glance at the others. One of them sees it too. His jaw tightens, but he says nothing. The silence holds. The Nakam walks to the tree, kneels beside the mark, and studies it in torchlight. Then, without a word, he picks up a handful of damp earth and smears it over the carving, blending it into the bark, erasing its voice. He turns to you briefly, his face unreadable, eyes steady. Then he moves on, and so do you. But your steps feel different now, slower, more cautious. You scan the trees constantly, not from panic, from duty. Because in the jungle, the threat is not the shout, but the silence that comes before it. You pass a low ridge covered in vines, and there you see something else, a footprint, barefoot, toes splayed wide, half filled with rainwater, but fresh enough to stir the soil. Someone was here recently, watching, listening. The Nakam sees it too. He crouches low and places a small black stone in the center of the print, a quiet gesture, not for warning, but for witness. No alarm is raised, no change in path, only alertness, only the knowledge that the night has opened its second set of eyes. The patrol continues. You listen harder now, for footsteps that match your rhythm, for breaths not your own, but there is only the wind and the endless murmur of insects. Still, the sense of being watched does not leave you. It settles at your neck, beneath your shoulders, between your shoulder blades like a hand made of mist. You do not fear ambush. You fear not knowing when it begins, because in this forest, a thrown stone might never be heard. A shadow might carry more weight than a man. The torchlight dances as you walk. Your fingers rest near your obsidian blade, steady, prepared. The jungle remains silent, but silence now has shape and presence and teeth. Chapter 9, Midnight Blood. The patrol moves deeper into shadow. The trees grow closer here, their branches weaving above like tangled ribs. The flame is smaller now, softer. Your torch flickers with every step. Soon, it will need more resin. A thin root catches your ankle. You stumble slightly, not a fall, just enough to brush past a sharp branch. A quick sting, you feel it slice across your upper arm, then warmth, and you stop for a moment beneath a ceiba tree, shifting your torch to your other hand. Your fingers find the wound easily, not deep, but already slick with blood. You breathe in, not in pain, but in knowing, because blood means something here. Chapter 9, Midnight Blood. The patrol moves deeper into shadow. The trees grow closer here, their branches weaving above like tangled ribs. Your torch flickers with every step. The flame is smaller now, softer. Soon, it will need more resin. A thin root catches your ankle. You stumble slightly, not a fall, just enough to brush past a sharp branch. You feel it slice across your upper arm, a quick sting, then warmth, and you stop for a moment beneath a ceiba tree, shifting your torch to your other hand. Your fingers find the wound easily, not deep, but already slick with blood. You breathe in, not in pain, but in knowing, because blood means something here. In Maya belief, blood is not a weakness, it is an offering, a sacred gift, a thread between the body and the gods who walk in shadow and smoke. You kneel beside a smooth stone half buried in the forest floor. Your fingers tremble slightly as you press 2 drops of blood onto the surface. It spreads slowly, like dark ink on old bark paper, then stops, soaks in. Accepted? The Nakam turns slightly and watches you. He says nothing, only nods. He has seen this before. He has done it before, many times. You press your hand to the stone a moment longer, letting your breath match the quiet pulse of the forest around you. Then you rise. The pain is already dulling, just a surface cut, but the ritual holds weight beyond the wound. The torchlight glows against your chest as you adjust your grip. The blood on your fingers feels warm, still part of you, yet now shared with the night. Somewhere behind you, an insect trills. Above, the leaves rustle as a small animal climbs through the branches. Life continues, unconcerned with human offerings. You step back onto the path. The earth feels different underfoot now, not changed, just more aware, like the jungle knows something has been given and waits to see if it is enough. One of the older warriors murmurs a word under his breath, a single glyph spoken aloud. Kulel, sacred essence, not a spell, a recognition. The patrol moves on. You fall back into step. A smear of red still shines on your arm in the dim torchlight, but you do not hide it. You do not wipe it clean. The gods are said to walk at night, invisible in the mist, riding the winds between trees, and when they see blood given freely, they sometimes leave gifts behind, not gold, not strength, but clarity. You walk for some time without speaking, only the torch's soft hiss and the dull ache in your arm and the distant heartbeat of the jungle around you. And slowly, that ache becomes something else, and a rhythm, a reminder that you are alive, still walking, still watching, that tonight, even in darkness, even through pain, you endure. Firelight and hunger. The path begins to widen again. The ground here is softer, loamy with leaves and rich black soil. A gentle breeze brushes your face as the trees open slightly overhead and the stars return. You feel them like quiet eyes above the canopy. The Nacum raises his torch, then motions to a clearing just beyond a cluster of flowering bushes. There, in a space surrounded by low stone mounds, the patrol stops. This is a resting place. Old warriors once paused here to make offerings before long marches. Now, it is where you gather your breath and remember your body. Your legs ache slightly as you lower yourself onto a mossy stone. You feel the strain in your thighs, your back, your hands from gripping the torch too tightly. The others settle nearby. Still no one speaks, but you feel the weight of shared silence, like being inside the same thought without words. The Nakam opens a cloth pouch and removes a few dried cacao beans. He places one in the center of the circle, then passes the rest slowly around. Each of you takes one, bitter and hard. You bite down slowly. The flavor is sharp, dark, earthy. It doesn't ease your hunger, but it reminds your stomach that something still connects it to the earth. You chew and let the silence stretch. The crackle of the torches is louder now, their light glowing golden orange against the smooth bark of the trees. A few moths flutter near the flames, drawn toward warmth they don't understand. Your stomach twists again, a slow cramp that passes like a wave. You haven't eaten since morning. Only water, only smoke, only motion and memory. This is part of the test, not just walking or watching or surviving, and, but enduring hunger without losing clarity. One of the warriors to your left closes his eyes, not from weakness, but from discipline, the way you were taught. When the body calls out, answer with stillness, and not denial, just presence. The Nacum leans back against a root. His torch is wedged between two stones, its flame steady and low. He takes a pinch of ash from a small bowl and smears it across the inside of his wrist. An old ritual, a prayer without sound. You feel sweat drying on your back. A line of it cools between your shoulder blades. Your heartbeat has slowed, but your mind is still awake. Watching, always watching. The wind picks up slightly, bringing the scent of damp leaves and faint blossoms. Your stomach growls again, louder this time. No one looks up. They've all felt the same sound, felt it and welcomed it like a friend. Because this hunger isn't just emptiness, it's space, a clearing within the self, room for vigilance, room for vision, room for the gods to speak if they wish to. You stare into the fire for a while, letting its movement slow your thoughts. Each flicker feels like the blink of a sleeping creature, each ember like a tiny sun being born and dying over and over again. You close your eyes for just a moment. You don't sleep, but you rest. Your muscles quiet. Your blood moves slower. You are hungry, but still whole, still present, still listening to the fire and to the night that continues to whisper all around you. Vision of the mace god. You are walking again. The firelight is behind you now, swallowed by the dark trees. The torch in your hand casts a soft glow forward, just enough to paint the forest in flickering gold and shadow. Each step feels slower than before, not from fear, but from depth. You are deeper into the jungle than you've ever gone. Even in daylight, this far would feel sacred. At night, it feels folded in time, like the world thins between moments. The silence here is different, not the hush of stillness, but the quiet of breath held by something unseen. Even the insects soften their rhythm, as if listening. Your hunger flares again, and with it, a lightness in your head, not pain, but drifting, like being carried in a dream just before waking. And then, ahead of you, where the trees part around a low clearing, you see something glowing softly in the dark. Not torchlight, not fireflies, a figure, seated, bathed in pale light that has no flame. You stop walking. The patrol halts behind you, but no one speaks. You feel your eyes widen, not in fear, in reverence. The figure sits cross-legged on a stone slab covered in lichen. He wears no headdress, no crown, only long ears of maize tucked behind his ears and a smooth white cloth draped over his shoulders. His skin is golden and soft like young corn, and his face is calm, neither smiling nor stern, just watching. You know this figure, though you've never seen him. Every glyph, every story, every childhood chant tells of him. He is Yum Cox, the Maze Lord, bringer of nourishment, keeper of cycles, protector of balance between hunger and harvest. The light around him pulses faintly, like breath, not from heat, from presence. No one moves, not even the Nakam. Perhaps they see him too, or perhaps this vision is only yours. You feel your knees begin to lower themselves, slow and instinctive. You kneel in the leaf litter, eyes fixed on the gentle figure before you, and for a moment you forget the ache in your legs. You forget the blood on your arm, the hunger in your belly, the torch in your hand. You are simply here. Yumkux raises a hand, not to beckon, not to bless, just a gesture of stillness. The same stillness you carry now in your chest. You bow your head. You do not speak, not even in thought. You simply breathe. Let the silence of the vision fill the places that once held doubt. Then the light dims, softly, as if the figure is walking backward into mist you cannot see. You raise your eyes slowly. The clearing is empty. Only the stone remains, and your own breath in the still air. The Nakam steps forward, places a single cacao bean on the slab, and bows his head. You follow. No words, just quiet devotion. And as you walk again, back beneath the branches, back into shadow, you feel something has shifted within you. The hunger is still there, but it no longer speaks with pain, only purpose. The gods do not always come with thunder or fire. Sometimes they arrive in the middle of silence, when your body is weakest, but your spirit most open. Rain in the darkness. The air has changed. You feel it first in your lungs, the coolness as you breathe, then in the leaves above, a faint shiver as they stir against one another. The wind is shifting, and then a soft sound, a single drop falling from somewhere high in the canopy. It lands on your wrist, cool, clean, rain, not heavy, not loud. Just a slow, steady hush that begins to settle over the forest like a woven cloak. You tilt your face slightly upward, let the drops touch your cheeks, your eyelids, your lips. They carry the scent of stone and tree bark, of moss and thyme. The Nakan does not stop the patrol, but he lowers his torch slightly, shielding the flame with his hand. The others do the same. Your own flame dances, hisses softly as droplets find their way to the resin-soaked cloth. It sputters but holds. Steady, like you, the forest glistens now. Leaves shimmer with silver edges. Tree trunks shine like obsidian mirrors. Even the dirt seems cleaner, its scent richer in the moisture. You pass a small stream swollen by the rain. It flows quickly now, its trickle louder than before, darting between roots and over pebbles. The Nakam lifts a small pouch from his sash. He opens it and removes a flat piece of bark coated in soft white powder. He sprinkles a pinch into the stream, watching it dissolve into the flow, an offering to Chak the rain god. You whisper the name silently. Jacket? His face is carved on countless temple corners, eyes wide, mouth curled in a spiral of cloud and fang, bringer of storms and of forgiveness. The rain continues, not angry, not punishing, just necessary. Just present. You feel the dried blood on your arms soften. It runs in thin lines down your elbow, disappearing into your palm. The jungle takes it gently, without judgment. Perhaps this is the true cleansing. No drum sound in this chapter of the night. No jaguar cries, only the hush of falling water, the warm scent of wet earth, the soft crunch of soaked leaves beneath your feet. You walk slowly now, not because you are tired, but because the rain has asked you to move differently, to honor the pace of water, finding its way home. The torch dims with every drop, still burning, still alive, but like a whisper instead of a voice. The Nakam reaches into his belt and produces a small clay figure. He places it on a flat rock by the stream, a wide-eyed face with water symbols etched into its brow. A watcher, a promise. You leave a piece of crushed cacao beside it. The rain dissolves it almost instantly, melding food, scent, prayer. This moment feels soft, holy in its quiet. You are soaked now, hair heavy, tunic clinging to your chest. But the cold is not cruel, it is clarity. As you move on, the path beneath you has become glassy with water and moonlight. Your torch is still with you, but your guide now is rhythm and breath and the music of the rain. Each step forward feels like a blessing spoken without words. Each drop a reminder that all things pass, that even heat and pain and hunger dissolve if you let them. The jaguars call. The rain has slowed now, just a whisper through the leaves. Your tunic is damp against your skin. Your hands are chilled, but steady. Steam rises gently from the stones beneath your feet as warmth returns to the air. Then, a sound, low, deep, like the earth exhaling through its throat. You stop walking. The others freeze too. No one needs to ask. You all heard it. The cry comes again, drawn out and heavy, from far away, but not far enough to ignore. The jaguar, Balaam, the night lord, the hunter between worlds, a creature of blood and stars. You have never heard one in the wild before, and only in stories, only carved in glyphs, painted in murals, whispered in chants during the full moon. Now you hear it with your own ears, and your body reacts before thought. Your breath shallows. Your legs root themselves to the ground. Your heart speaks in the oldest rhythm it knows, survival. The Nalkan lowers his torch. He crouches beside a stone and draws a quick glyph into the soft mud, a jaguar's eye, surrounded by 4 dots, a sign of respect, of acknowledgement. Then he reaches into his pouch and removes a lump of chalky clay. One by one, he approaches each warrior. He smears a white circle on your forehead with his thumb. The paint is cold, wet against your skin. You do not flinch. This is the ritual of night crossing, a symbol that says, I walk with silence. I belong to shadow. Jaguars do not fear you, but they respect paths walked with stillness. You hear it again, fainter now, moving away, or circling wide. You can't tell, but you do not follow. You do not chase gods when they pass in the form of beasts. You remain still for a while, not from fear, from reverence. And the air is thick with meaning. You can almost feel the ancient shape of the jaguar's body slinking between the roots, felt, not seen. The elders say jaguars walk between the worlds, one paw in the living, one in the spirit realm. And when they call out in the night, the jungle listens. So must you. You rise slowly, your legs stiff from crouching. The torch still burns in your hand, but now its light seems softer, less about seeing, more about being seen. The patrol moves again, every step slower now, more careful, each footfall placed like a prayer on the damp ground. You were no longer just watching for danger. You are walking through story, through spirit, through an invisible world layered just beneath the leaves and soil. Somewhere to your right, a single bird calls out sharply. The others don't react. Not every sound means something, but tonight, every sound feels like it could. The jaguar's cry does not come again, but its echo stays in your chest. A low presence, a sacred warning. You walk on, painted in white, quiet as the roots beneath your feet. Returning through the mist, you don't notice the mist at first, only the coolness on your skin and the faint silver sheen along the edge of your torchlight. Then you look up and see it. The air is soft now, filled with tiny droplets floating between the trees, catching the firelight in muted halos. It swirls low around your ankles as you walk. You are heading back. You recognize the shape of the path beneath your feet, the way the roots rise like steps near the ridge, the soft dip near the old stream bed. Your body remembers before your mind does. Each step carries less weight now, not because you are stronger, but because you have surrendered to the rhythm of the jungle, of silence, of breath. The torch in your hand is almost finished. Its flame dances low, quiet, clinging to the final threads of resin cloth. It will not last much longer, and that is as it should be. You pass a place where the bees once hummed. The hive is still there, hidden in the bark, a faint vibration in the mist. You bow your head slightly in passing, not to the bees, but to the moment they gave you. Far ahead, you see the faintest glow, not fire, but pale sky. Dawn is beginning to touch the horizon, a soft blue just barely brushing the tops of the tallest trees. The Nakam pauses at the base of a narrow slope. He turns, eyes calm, and gestures silently. You begin the final climb together. Each step feels carved from dream now. Your legs move, but the ground beneath seems lighter, thinner, as if the weight of the night is dissolving beneath your feet. As you rise through the mist, the sound of the waking forest returns, a bird's low trill, the rustle of something small in the leaves. But you don't flinch. These sounds are familiar. These sounds mean morning. You reach the top of the slope and pause. Below you, just beyond the trees, you see it, the outer palisade of Calic Mole, faint in the mist, the curve of rooftops, the distant outline of temple spires against the lightning sky. You're close now, but no one rushes. This last part is walked slowly, to honor what came before, to return with dignity. The mist clings to your legs like silk. Your chest rises and falls in long, slow breaths. You feel the ache in your arms, the soreness in your knees, the dry crack at the corner of your lips. But you also feel clear, not just clean of dirt or sweat, but emptied of noise, filled instead with something quieter, wider, older. The torch finally flickers out in your hand, a final sputter, then nothing, only smoke curling upward into the mist, disappearing without sound. You hand the stick to the Nakam without needing to be asked. He nods, not praise, not instruction, just acknowledgement. You've walked the jungle, you've fed it silence and sweat and breath, and it has let you return. Ahead, the gates await, and beyond them, a stone bench, a warm drink, a rising sun to dry your clothes and paint your skin with light. But for now, you walk quietly through the mist and let the earth remember your footsteps. The warriors dawn. The gates of Calic are just ahead, tall wooden beams wrapped in vines and soot. They do not creak when opened, only shift slightly with a low groan of ancient hinges, as if the city itself stirs from sleep to welcome you home. You pass through without fanfare. No drums, no horns, just a hush that follows you into the stone paths beyond. A hush that says, "Yes, you made it." The patrol walks together through the outer courtyard, torches extinguished, ash smudged across your skin, your feet soft against the damp stone. The sky is warming now, turning from deep blue to soft gray. The Naakan stops beside the old altar at the edge of the warrior's compound. He places his hands on the smooth surface. So do you, one by one, 5 palms pressed against stone, worn down by thousands of returns. You do not speak. There is no need. You feel the stone beneath your hand, cool and steady, a quiet reminder of every warrior who has come before you. A priest emerges from the shadows of the temple portico. His robe is simple, white cotton dyed faintly with red along the hem. He holds a shallow bowl filled with thick, dark liquid, cacao mixed with chili and honey and sacred flower oil, the drink of return, bitter, sharp, meant not to comfort, but to awaken the soul after long silence. He hands it to the Nakam, who drinks once, then passes it down the line. When it reaches you, the clay is warm from other hands. You sip slowly. It coats your tongue. It burns your throat. It brings you back into your body. The priest marks your forehead with a dab of red pigment, a closing symbol, not a reward, a seal. And this journey has ended, and you may carry it quietly into your next one. You step aside. The compound is still and soft. Somewhere, a woman's voice calls to her child from a nearby courtyard. A rooster begins its slow song. A fire is being lit in a clay oven. Morning is begun, but for you, it is time to rest. You walk toward the small stone bench beneath the ceiba tree outside the warrior house. It is damp, but you sit anyway. You feel the stone beneath you, solid, familiar. The others settle nearby. No one speaks yet. The silence is still sacred. But there is a peace to it now, not tense, not fearful, just calm. The temple bells chime faintly in the distance, calling the city to stir. But you have already lived a lifetime in one night. You have walked where jaguars pass unseen. You have bled onto old stone. You have listened when the forest whispered your name. Now, your eyes begin to close, not from exhaustion alone, but from fullness, from knowing you have carried the torch and returned with more than you left with. You are no longer just a watcher. You are part of the rhythm now, part of the jungle, part of the silence. A lost glyph in the trees. The city fades behind you now. The dawn has not fully broken, but the jungle still holds on to its night breath. You've been asked to accompany the Nakam on a short return pass, a silent walk to check the outer glyph markers left by past patrols. The forest greets you again like an old friend, quiet, slow, softened by mist and the scent of crushed leaves. Your footsteps are steady, your arms lighter without the weight of the torch. You carry only your blade now, the obsidian edge wrapped in cloth, peaceful, ceremonial. The Nakum gestures toward a cluster of trees along the ridge path, a place where scouts once carved symbols into the bark to mark their safe passage. Simple glyphs: a jaguar's claw, a maize sprout, a water curl. You remember learning these in your youth, not written on stone, but in the mud beside the training house, drawn with sticks and fingers, each one a message left in silence. You and the Nakum part the hanging vines and approach the first marker. It is faint, nearly swallowed by new bark and moss. But it's there, a maize sprout, symbol of growth, safety, return. He nods, a quiet affirmation, then moves on to the next. But you pause. Something on the other tree catches your eye. Not one of the official symbols, not anything you were taught. You step closer. The bark has been carved recently, not with reverence, but with urgency. A symbol shaped like an eye set inside a spiral, foreign, unfamiliar. You trace it lightly with your fingertip. The wood is rough around the edges. It was made quickly, possibly with a stone shard, but its lines are precise, intentional. The Nakum returns to your side. His eyes follow your hand, and for a moment he is still. Then he kneels beside the tree and studies the glyph. You do not speak, but you feel the weight of the silence grow heavier. This is not one of yours, not from Calicmol, not from your patrols. The Nakum reaches into his satchel and removes a thin reed dipped in charcoal paste. He copies the symbol onto a bark scroll, careful, deliberate, then marks the scroll with a tiny dot beside the spiral. A personal note, a memory made permanent. You glance around the trees. Everything looks the same. The leaves move gently in the breeze. Birdsong returns faintly in the distance. But your senses are sharper now, tuned. The Nakum speaks quietly. The first words you've heard all morning. Eyes that spiral see what others miss. What a phrase from the old texts. Not a warning, but not comfort either. And he stands, ties the scroll into a leather cord around his waist, and walks on. You follow, steps slower now, not fearful, just aware. There are messages in trees, in birdsong, in the press of your heel against soft earth. Some messages are yours to read, others are meant only to be seen and carried quietly. The glyph disappears behind you as the mist folds it back into bark and shadow, but it stays in your thoughts, swirling slowly like a question waiting for the right dream to answer it. Ghost of the ball player. You pass beneath the arch of an old stone causeway, half swallowed by vines. It leads into a grove where no fruit grows and no birds nest. The air here is still. Even the insects seem to hush their wings. The Nakan pauses before entering. You stop beside him, waiting. He kneels and places two fingers on the earth, then touches them to his forehead. You do the same, a sign of respect for what might still walk here unseen. This was once a ball court, long ago, before the trees reclaimed it, before the names were forgotten. You can still make out the stone outline beneath the moss, long and narrow, with sloped walls. It is said that players of great honor were buried where they played, not in shame, but in triumph, because the ball game was not just a sport, it was a conversation with the gods. The rules were hard, the expectations harsher. Only the best played beneath temple eyes, and sometimes they never returned from the final match. The patrol crosses the edge of the grove quietly. The trees arch high above, forming a tunnel of shade despite the rising sun. The mist clings here, unwilling to lift, as if memory still anchors it to the stones. You see something then, just ahead, a shape near the center of the court. Then, not moving, not clear, like the outline of a man seated cross legged on the moss. You blink once, twice. It's still there, and then gone. No sound, no trail, only the soft indent in the moss, as if someone had just stood and walked away. You feel the hair at the back of your neck lift, not from cold, but from that old instinct, the one that says you are not alone. But you are not in danger either, only watched. The Knockham steps forward. He places a tiny ball of crushed rubber and ash at the center of the court, an offering for the one who played until the end. You remember the stories now of the ball player whose spirit returns on misty mornings, not to haunt, but to remind the living of the line between pride and peace. He had no name, only a title, Ajapok Tak Ulel, he who bounced the soul, a man chosen to carry the weight of his people's fate in a single game. Some say he still practices alone at dawn, that the sound of the rubber ball can be heard echoing between the old stone walls. If you listen very closely, you sit at the edge of the court for a moment, fingers pressed to the moss. It's soft, cool, alive with memory. You don't speak to the ghost, but you offer your silence and your breath. As the patrol rises and continues through the grove, you glance back once more. The light is shifting now, the mist thinning, the court fading back into the forest floor. But for just a second, you hear it, the soft thump of a ball against stone, then nothing. You walk on. The story stays behind, but its echo travels with you. Ghost of the ball player. You pass beneath the arch of an old stone causeway, half swallowed by vines. It leads into a grove where no fruit grows, and no bird's nest. The air here is still. Even the insects seem to hush their wings. The Nakam pauses before entering. You stop beside him, waiting. He kneels and places two fingers on the earth, then touches them to his forehead. You do the same, a sign of respect for what might still walk here unseen. This was once a ball court, long ago, before the trees reclaimed it, before the names were forgotten. You can still make out the stone outline beneath the moss, long and narrow, with sloped walls. It is said that players of great honor were buried where they played, not in shame, but in triumph, because the ball game was not just a sport, it was a conversation with the gods. The rules were hard, the expectations harsher. Only the best played beneath temple eyes, and sometimes they never returned from the final match. The patrol crosses the edge of the grove quietly. The trees arch high above, forming a tunnel of shade despite the rising sun. The mist clings here, unwilling to lift, as if memory still anchors it to the stones. You see something then, just ahead, a shape near the center of the court, not moving, not clear, like the outline of a man seated cross legged on the moss. You blink once, twice, it's still there, and then gone. No sound, no trail, only the soft indent in the moss, as if someone had just stood and walked away. You feel the hair at the back of your neck lift, not from cold, but from that old instinct, the one that says you are not alone, but you are not in danger either, only watched. The Nakum steps forward. He places a tiny ball of crushed rubber and ash at the center of the court, an offering for the one who played until the end. You remember the stories now of the ball player whose spirit returns on misty mornings, not to haunt, but to remind the living of the line between pride and peace. He had no name, only a title, Akapyai, Atyapotakulel, he who balanced the soul, a man chosen to carry the weight of his people's fate in a single game. Some say he still practices alone at dawn, that the sound of the rubber ball can be heard echoing between the old stone walls. If you listen very closely, you sit at the edge of the court for a moment, fingers pressed to the moss. It's soft, cool, alive with memory. You don't speak to the ghost, but you offer your silence and your breath. As the patrol rises and continues through the grove, you glance back once more. The light is shifting now, the mist thinning, the court fading back into the forest floor. But for just a second, you hear it, the soft thump of a ball against stone, then nothing. You walk on. The story stays behind, but its echo travels with you. When the torch goes out, the jungle is quiet again. No drums, no jaguar calls, only the steady hush of leaves shifting overhead. In your own breath, the patrol has split now, some returning to their quarters, others staying to guard the eastern trail. You've been asked to stay behind, alone, for just a while. A test of silence, not of danger, but of stillness, to remain in the clearing beneath the watch tree until your flame dies, and not relight it, no matter what you feel. You sit cross-legged at the base of a thick-trunked tree, roots like stone benches curling around you. Your torch is planted in the soil beside you, still burning, still warm. The flame crackles quietly. Not strong now, just a thin line of light swaying against the breeze. Its glow casts soft shadows on your legs, on the nearby stone, on the folds of your tunic. You listen, not for sounds, but for space, for the shape of silence. It is wide here, vast, carved between every rustle of leaf and creak of bark. The torch sputters, once, then again. You do not look at it, only feel its presence growing smaller beside you. Your mind drifts to the old chants of the temple school, the ones that spoke of light and fire and the sacred moment of letting go. The gods do not watch your flame, they watch your hands when the flame is gone. You remember your teacher saying that once. He meant it gently. And now, as the torch fades beside you, you finally understand. Another sputter. Then, darkness. The flame dies without ceremony. No puff of smoke. No final flare. Just silence. You do not move. You do not reach for flint or fiber. You sit and breathe and let the darkness wrap itself gently around you. It is not empty. It holds every shape of the night. The brush of a branch above you, the curl of a vine across your foot, the pulse of your own body in your palms. In the absence of light, your senses shift. You hear the small things clearer. You feel the earth's breath rising from the soil beneath you. You are not blind here. You are becoming part of what surrounds you. A firefly drifts by your cheek, a soft flicker, gone before you can follow it. It leaves nothing but a warm dot of memory, like a thought you forgot to hold. Time stretches now. the way it does when dreams begin. You lose the count of breaths, of heartbeats. You are simply here. You close your eyes, not because you need to, but because even they are no longer necessary. You've seen enough. You've carried the light, and now you've let it go. A cool breeze moves across your cheek. You inhale slowly, and for a moment, there is no warrior, no path, no story, only a body resting against the roots of a tree. Only silence, only breath. Conclusion. Let the jungle sleep. You've returned from the forest now, not as a guest, but as one who walked its silence, carried its weight, and listened to its breath. You endured hunger. You stood still in the shadow of jaguars. You felt the sting of night air against open skin, and you walked without speaking, not because you couldn't, but because the silence was sacred. Tonight, you became part of something older than cities, older than stone. You followed the torch through mist and underworld, through ghost courts and beehives, through offerings left in caves and glyphs drawn in bark. You saw the maze lord's calm face. You heard the cry of the night cat. You learned that even fear becomes quiet if you sit beside it long enough. You knelt by broken ruins. You drank bitter cacao under morning stars, and you let your torch go out, not in defeat, but in trust. Trust in the dark. Trust in yourself. You have survived the My Warrior's night patrol, and more than that, you've returned with stillness tucked behind your ribs, a silence you'll carry with you, even in waking. Now, let your breath be soft and steady. Let your limbs grow heavy. There is nothing more to carry tonight. The gods are not watching. They are resting too. The jungle no longer speaks. The obsidian sleeps in its sheath. The night has done what it was meant to do, and so have you. Thank you for walking this path with us. If you found peace here, consider gently liking the video or subscribing to the Sleepy Historian. We'll be here whenever the night calls you back. Now close your eyes and dream under the same stars that once watched over ancient Calic Mole. Good night, warrior. Vel